Welcome to the last video of Chapter 2. Section 8 covers graphing linear inequalities. So anytime you are graphing linear inequalities, there's two things that you need to consider, and we're going to write these in the box. You need to decide if we have a solid or a dashed boundary. And you need to remember to shade. Now, you've seen this before. Solid boundaries versus dashed depends on the inequality you have. If your inequality has an equal sign, it's going to be a solid line. If it has greater than or less than with no equal sign, you're going to have a dashed boundary. So we're going to look at this first example together. It says graph that equation. Remember to state 3 exact points on your boundary. So, the way we're going to approach this, first thing we're going to do is we're going to ignore the inequality. And we're just going to graph this like a normal line. This line is in standard form. This is when we've normally done the XY chart. Put in a 0 for X, put in a 0 for Y. If I put in a 0 for X, I get 2Y equals 4. So Y is equal to 2. If I put in a 0 for Y, I get X equals 4. So now if you remember, these are our two ordered pairs, 0, 2, and 4, 0. 0, 2 is right here. 4, 0 is right here. Now we need 3 points on our boundary though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count my slope here. My slope says go up 2 over 4. So what I can do is go up 2 over 4 again. So here I went up 2 over 4, up 2, over 4. That's how I found that other point. I'm going to erase this because we don't really need it. Okay, so now comes the inequality part. If we look at our inequality, there's no equal sign. So in this case, we're going to have a dashed boundary. Then we need to figure out shading. So the way that you're going to figure out shading is you're going to pick a test point. It can be any point that is not on the line. So I normally like to choose the origin 0, 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug 0, 0 into my inequality. So I get 0 plus 2 times 0 is greater than 4. 0 is greater than 4. This is not true. What that tells me is I want to shade on the side that does not have 0, 0. 0, 0 is our origin, so we're going to shade over here. Okay. Moving on to example 2. If you would like to, you can pause the video and try these on your own. If you don't want to try them, you can just stay with me. So in example A, again, we need to graph. What I'm going to do, I don't like that 1/2 y, so I'm just going to multiply everything by 2. I get 6x plus y is less than or equal to 6. You don't have to do that, but for me, it's convenient to not have the 1/2. This is standard form again, so we're going to make our table. Again, ignore the inequality, just treat this as a line. If I put a 0 in for x, I get y equals 6. If I put a 0 in for y, I get 6x equals 6, so x equals 1. So remember now, these are the 2 points you're going to graph. We have 0, 6, and we have 1, 0. Now, if we picture trying to find the slope so we can find another point, we'll see we go down 6, so 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 over 1. So I can go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 1. Put another point there. So again, I always want you to have 3 points if you can, wherever possible. The directions say to state 3 points. I don't care that you state them as long as you have them on your graph. So now we need to determine, do we have a solid or a dashed boundary? Well, our inequality sign has an equal sign, which tells us we are going to have a solid line. And now we got to figure out shading. So again, pick any test point that's not on the line. So I'm going to choose 0, 0. If I plug in 0, I get 3 times 0 plus 1/2 times 0 is less than or equal to 3. 0 is less than or equal to 3, which is true. So we're going to shade on the side that has 0, 0. That would be this side over here. And then we have one last example, this example B. Okay, so if we ignore that inequality and we think of having y equals 4, y equals 4 is going to be a line that goes through the y-axis at 4. So if I go to where y equals 4, that's right here. So I'm going to put a line through that. There's no equal sign, so it's going to be a dashed line. And again, plug in any value. So if I plug in 0, 0, I get 0 is less than 4, which is true. So I'm going to shade towards 0, 0. So I know that was a quick review, but most of that should be pretty familiar. If you have any questions, please make sure you write them down or send me an email.